You ever kind of think, okay, they finished the world and now we can live in it? Like, how do they actually do it? Like, I couldn't, even if I lived in 1400, I couldn't go back to 1400 and say, this is what you do to build Notre Dame. Like, I don't write a to-do list because a to-do list is great because you write all the things you need to do for the day and then, oh, I did it, check, 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 check. If I don't write a to-do list, the highest priority things will definitely make themselves known to me.
You already know about this. There are 33.8 million rats in New York City. That part doesn't disturb me. What disturbs me is who has the job counting those rats? Who is like really excited to just get up and go to work today and count some rats?
Let's say that my to-do list is drop off my kid at school. I don't have to write that down on a to-do list. She's gonna wake up and say, drive me to school, or else I'm staying home all day. So your priorities and the things that are important to you, they will reveal themselves to you. You don't have to be reminded by writing a to-do list.
Did you know that a rat can be dropped from 40.7 feet and still live? I didn't know that. And then I wonder again, who is the scientist?
What I sometimes do is at the end of the day, I write an I did list. I went last night to show my daughter the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And then I see, did I do things that I love? The ratio of things you love over doing things you don't love, you want it to balance highly towards the things you love doing.
Please, you'll appreciate this one. So, they took a fat rat and a thin rat. Sounds like a sitcom. They took a fat rat and a thin rat. They took the fecal matter out of the thin rat, the shit out of the thin rat, and put it inside the rectum of the fat rat. They took the fecal matter of the fat rat and put it inside the rectum of the thin rat.
So sometimes I do an I did list just to make sure I haven't been doing too many things that I don't really like to do, like networking or whatever. I would never have time to do the things I would want. Writing, podcasting, resting, spending time with family, coming up with ideas for new businesses, doing stand-up comedy.
Within 3 months, the fat rat got thinner, the thin rat got fatter. Who woke up one morning and said, I've got a brilliant idea I must test out. We're gonna move some shit around here, people.
We all want well-being. Some people could say, well, I want to be happy all the time. The happy is just one emotion among thousands. Like I could be happy at a party, but you can't be having a party all the time. You spend a half hour at a party or an hour or 2 hours, you're no longer happy. It goes away, then you have to go on to the next thing. But well-being, you can have all the time. You can always feel like you're improving at something you love. You have good emotional relationships with friends, family, spouses, partners, and so on. And you could always have a sense of freedom. Traveling to another country is a way for me to meet readers, learn about myself. I'm also here with my daughter. She's never been here before, and I want her to see what's the experience of a life that's different. If you want to avoid a life of school, college, job, marriage, house, retirement, die, there's lots of ways outside of that normal path, and I want her to see what's it like to live outside of the normal path. She takes a week off from school, she gets to see and explore all these different things that she never would have seen before, and she gets to see me in all sorts of situations she never would have seen before. Because when's the next time I'm gonna, travel with my 16-year-old daughter who's entering adulthood. Maybe never. Hey, we're in Paris together as father-daughter. She's having the trip of her life. I'm having the trip of my life. And with an experience, you can anticipate it along the way, then you have the experience, and then forever after the rest of your life, if it was a good experience, you can look back on it fondly. We all want well-being. It's not necessarily a pure happy feeling, it's a combination of many feelings. But it is part of well-being to feel like you're improving at something and you're using your creativity and you have the freedom to do what you love. Being around people who love and support you and who you support and love as much as possible, whether it's work, friendship, family, love, all those things are important. Improving at what you love, so that triggers the creativity. It makes you feel part of one or more subcultures, so you feel like you belong, and the sense of improvement gives you a satisfaction that you're having impact in life, and that feels good. And then finally, that sense that every day, just a little bit, you're improving your freedom in life.
It was really dark. And I was like, this is death. Like I'm going to my death. Everyone was talking. And I was like just this coma ghost. But I was awake. And I was just there like this, ghost who couldn't say what the hell is going on. Someone sit down and explain to me what's going on. Show me a chart. What is happening?
So I've got Jeannie Gaffigan on the podcast. Jeannie just wrote a book, When Life Gives You Pears, The Healing Power of Family, Faith, and Funny People, forward by the comedian Jim Gaffigan, which is your husband. And this is all about this time when you had a 6-centimeter brain tumor and everything that happens. It's almost like a guide to, if you have a serious life-affecting illness, what things you should do.
I never in a million years would have expected something like this to happen. I think that at the time this happened, I really was taking things that are, in retrospect, really not that big of a deal as such a big deal every day. And not really realizing that there's a much bigger deal around the corner. Just like if you can just apply it to friends. Let's say if you're like, you know what, I have no friends, I sit in my room all day, but you do. You have a community of people that you interact with. So let's say substitute friends for siblings. So my siblings, I love them, but I was like, this person, I bring up my brother, Patrick, who watched my turtle when I went to Florida and the turtle died. So he was not like someone who I'd be thinking was a caregiver. But what happens to people when someone close to them goes through a crisis is a really meaningful transformation.
The first time I went dead broke, I quickly went from never having any money to being the most spoiled, selfish person ever. And I remember I called my parents and I said, can I borrow $1,000 and I'll return it. It was a Friday. I'll drive down, I'll return it Monday. My parents said no. They said, we don't want to, be on the hook for all your expenses, and we're going to say no now. And I'm like, I paid for my college, I paid for everything. So I hung up the phone and I stopped talking to my parents because I was really upset. When I was reading this, and I know we're kind of skipping over all what actually happened, but there was one part of me that was a little bit sad for me. Of course, I'm going to bring it all back to me, where I haven't really built up 20 years of siblings and cousins that are going to come to my side and find me the best doctors. 6 months later, my sister called me and said, Dad had a stroke. And so basically that last time when they rejected me was the last time I had spoken with my father.
And I still felt bad about losing all this money, because maybe with some of the money I had made, I could have tried alternative medicines to help him, or experimental stuff that people were working on to help him survive his stroke, but he ultimately didn't survive it.
I was the type of person that if somebody I knew went into the hospital, I would be like, well, let's not bother her or the family. And then when I was in the hospital and I saw that people who were like, yeah, I don't care, I'm just gonna go visit Jeannie at the hospital, and people would come in, I was like, this is so meaningful. Would I do this? Because I should.
But you had this mega support system that takes decades to build, and I felt sorry for myself.
Well, you know, it's
what if
funny
I get
'cause
sick?
somebody else brought this up to me before. They're like, well, at least you were lucky enough to have all this stuff in place. But the truth of the matter was, I had no idea that I had this. And I think that's a lot what the book is about, is that it took this, because you have it. You just don't know it, like me. I didn't know it. It was an eye-opener for me. It made me realize that, oh yeah, I've been building this for 20 years, because I didn't realize it at the time.
The second I finished the book, I just felt this need to go into my daughter's room and sit down and talk with her for a while. In part selfishly, because I want to make sure she shows up if I have a brain tumor.
Money doesn't necessarily get you good relationships with people or a sense of improvement. Think of it the other way. If I'm around people I love, if I'm improving every day at something, and if I have more and more freedom in my life, guess what? I'm more likely as a byproduct to make money. I'm more likely as a byproduct to make good friends. I'm more likely as a byproduct to achieve status in subcultures in areas that I love, like business or investing or painting or writing or acting or whatever it is that you love doing. We're all tribal animals. We all sign up for a hierarchy. All your neurochemicals are related to where you stand in the hierarchy you've put yourself in. We cannot run from our evolution. For 2 million years, we've been releasing oxytocin when we get closer to the center of the tribe. We've been releasing dopamine when we get close to food, because we imagine it will make us closer to the center of the tribe. We release serotonin, you know, when we're happy about our position in the tribe. And we release cortisol, stress, when we think we're gonna get kicked out of the tribe. So this is built into our entire nervous system. We don't need to fight for status to feel like we need to be happy. We say, I'll finally be happy if I get $1 million. I'll finally be happy if I win, if I get a book published. I'll finally be happy if I get a TV show on the air. Or then once you get a TV show, I'll finally be happy if I get an Emmy, because there's always the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Because
Isn't that part of the process though? Isn't that healthy too?
it is. That's because it is healthy, because we can't run from it. We can't deny it, because we're humans. But for me, what's healthy is doing it almost like a checklist. Am I physically healthy? Am I creative for me every day? Am I around good people? And that sometimes means diversifying the people I spend my time with. And I've been guilty of this. When I went broke when I had $15 million in the bank. I went dead fucking broke with 2 kids, too much money spending, and I lost everything. And you know, this is 20 years ago, but it still affects me like it was yesterday. And the only reason I went broke, I would say the bottom philosophical reason, is I had the disease that I needed more, because somehow or other I felt like I didn't have enough status. Somebody had removed status from me in some way, either as a kid or living in a wealthy area or being around people who only worship money. I didn't need 100 million. What would I even spend 100 million on? Now, I'm a little older, I've done a bunch of businesses, I've done a bunch of investments, I've made more money, I'm happy on the financial side. So instead of me playing that game, if I ever feel that need, like, oh, that guy across the hall has $100 million, I better get that. Instead of that, I walk over to the comedy club. I can guarantee you nobody has $100 million there. And then I can make people laugh. Or I'll walk down to Union Square and call up my friends who play chess and we'll all meet there and play. Or I'll call up my friends who are writers and say, hey, you want to hang out for lunch? And we talk about writing all day. I have enough things that I'm passionately interested in, like really passionately interested, and I kind of ease in and out like through the week from one hierarchy and one tribe to another, and then always try to improve and get better at what I'm in now. And then once I feel a little funky in some way, I'll move over for a little bit. Oh, I'll try to get better at this. So who's gonna get sucked in? All right, you got sucked in. But the guy with the Y on his cap, is he in on it? He's really? All right. That's why I tell my daughter, go to clown college. You learn all this stuff. We're going to an event with readers who pay for some of our products, and hopefully they've benefited from them. And I want to hear again what their concerns are and how we can help them even more and maybe make products to better serve them. Knight here to attack this. If bishop takes, pawn takes, then later rook here attacking this, there's no way to really defend it. So, is the event happening? Should I?
Yeah, I think the guests are here, like at least like half of it, I guess.
Should I mingle? Should I?
Sure.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is...
Oh, they're on the computer. Wanted to see the latest chess results. Someone's on the computer. Thank you all for coming here. How many people here speak perfect English? So I have readers all over, and I like to meet them, and I like to learn from them. It's almost like everybody I meet, I like to do a mini podcast so I can learn something from them. Who traveled the furthest to get here?
Istanbul.
Istanbul, okay. Very, very welcome from Turkey. Oh, everywhere I go, I like to meet the readers. I like to understand what their problems are. I like to figure out more things to write about. But when the stocks go down, you might own the stock. Someone puts the stock to you, and that's the problem. But we're only recommending prices, like the strike prices for puts, where we think the stock itself, we analyze the stock first. Sometimes if we don't diversify enough, the thing we can get better at is being addicted to something. It fills that gap of status because we have no other way to fill the gap. So we'll drink a lot, or check your email, or check your Facebook, get Instagram likes, get Instagram followers. So many people are addicted to that because it's easy dopamine hits, and that's what, basically those companies are in the business of showering you with dopamine in exchange for letting you see advertisers. So I get showered in dopamine, and in exchange I will allow advertisers to try to manipulate my free will. So the way to be as free as possible, again, is to diversify these subcultures, try to make them things that you're passionately interested in improving at, and live life that, and then try to be good to people. There's really nothing else. If you're not choosing yourself, if you're not choosing the decisions you make for yourself that will give you well-being, then someone else is doing the choosing for you, and it's their agenda now, and the results won't be as good for you. Let's say you want to be a writer. So many people think if they want to be a successful writer, they have to get chosen by someone else. They got to get chosen by an agent. They got to get chosen by an editor who works for a big publishing company. They got to get chosen by the bookstores. Then they got to get chosen by the readers who go to those bookstores. That's when someone else is doing the choosing for you. The results won't be as good for you. But I could choose myself. I could write the book that I know I love, publish it on Amazon. I'll make up the name of my publishing company. I'll design my own cover that I think looks good. I'll pick my own title. I'll design the interior. I'll do my own marketing. Eventually, if I keep doing this, I master the skill of choosing myself in the area of writing, and I'll write a great book that a lot of people will read. Business. I could start a business and I could say, oh, Mr. Venture Capitalist, I have a great idea about saving the world. If 1 billion people buy it, we'll make $1 trillion. And now I have to wait to be chosen by the venture capitalist who gives me money. Yeah, let's say I need $1 million to start my idea, or else I can't start it. Now I'm waiting for some venture capitalist to choose me. I should instead say to a client, hey, I've got this idea, will you pay me $100 to do this for you? And if they say yes, I go to the next client. He had a good experience, will you pay me $200? And then I go to the next client, will you pay me $200? Now I go to the venture capitalist and I say, I don't need your money, I already have people paying me money and I'm profitable, now maybe I'll raise money. Or maybe I don't even need to raise money. I've chosen myself, and because of that, I have more choices in the world. So every area of life you could think of, you either choose yourself or someone else is going to choose you. And the results will not be as good. Sarah Blakely was selling fax machines door to door for 8 years. She's the wealthiest self-made female billionaire, I think, in the world. And she had an idea for Spanx. So Spanx, you know, it's undergarments that women wear. She chose herself. She didn't say, oh, here's an idea, give me money. She made some of these undergarments by herself. Then she would go to a store and the salesperson who buys for all the Macy's said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We'll take 300,000 of these. Sarah Blakely didn't know how to make 300,000. Once she got the order, then she found the manufacturer. And then she fulfilled the order and made her money. That's how she chose herself. She didn't wait for the venture capitalist. She didn't wait to figure out how to manufacture before she even had a customer. And she used the experience she had of selling door-to-door fax machines to sell to this woman at the big department chain, and she was patient and she waited. It was 8 years of working on this. She chose herself every step of the way. Richard Branson's a great example. Do you know how much it costs to buy a fleet of jets, of 747s, and then convince Heathrow and JFK airports to say, oh yeah, you could fly these 20 jets that you just bought between us, and now you have an airline? That's impossible. He didn't say, hey, I have an idea, give me money to buy a 747 jet, because that's over $100 million.
But how did you convince Boeing to basically, essentially lend you a plane?
I had a record company. I rang them up and I said, this is Richard Branson. I didn't say I was 27 years old, but I was. I wonder whether you have any second-hand 747s for sale. And the guy at the other end said, who did you say you were? I said, I'm Richard Branson. I have a record company called Virgin Records, but they've got the Rolling Stones and Janet Jackson and Sex Pistols and lots of great bands. But I'm fed up flying on other people's airlines. And I'd like to create the kind of airline that I'd like to fly on.
He convinced Boeing to lend him a plane. He convinced Heathrow and JFK to let him fly. He just used his skills of salesmanship that he learned when he made a magazine and a record label and so on.
And he said to me, look, I would love to see an alternative to British Airways in Britain. I will come along and see you. But he also said that with a name like Virgin, nobody would fly on an airline called Virgin because they'd all assume that it would never go the whole way.
He borrowed from the 10,000 hours he learned from another skill, and he used those skills to make an airline, and he chose himself every step of the way.
So he came along anyway, and we kept the name Virgin. He gave us our first second-hand 747. I did a deal that if it didn't work out, I could hand the plane back to him at the end of 12 months. As it was at the end of 12 months, we took 2 more 747s off him because people love Virgin Atlantic, and Virgin was born.
He made easy execution steps. He didn't say, oh, I can't start an airline. I need 30 jets to have an airline. Delta has 30 jets or 500 jets. if you're waiting to be chosen, that's a horrible excuse. If you're saying I'm too old or I'm too poor, I can't start a business. Richard Branson started Virgin Air with zero money. Sarah Blakely started Spanx, a multi-billion-dollar company, with zero money.
You just learn, you just got to keep going. And so hearing no didn't stop me when I was trying to start Spanx. And I heard no for a solid year.
Tony Hawk was dead broke as a skateboarder when the exports came around, and he became the world champion of skateboarding, and then started making video games for Electronic Arts, I think, or Sony, one of them. And he's made $100 million worth of skateboarding games. He started with nothing.
I took out a second mortgage on my house to start a skate company, which seems like the most ridiculous idea because skating was going down. But I partnered up with another former pro skater, and we said, we've seen skateboarding come and go twice. It's bound to come back, and if we start a company now, it'll take the least capital.
I've reinvented myself many, many times, some good, some bad. I've reinvented myself as, in the entertainment industry. I reinvented myself as a businessman. I've reinvented myself in technology. I've reinvented myself by building a career in the investment business. I reinvented myself by building a very successful career as a writer. And then I reinvented myself, successful career as an angel investor, successful entrepreneur, successful podcaster. But I've also failed many, many times along the way, and it's so painful because I had to learn maybe the 6th or 7th year of reinvention is not to lose everything you gained the first 5 years. Sometimes you just fall flat on your ground. Divorce, you lose everything. Not because of the divorce, maybe you lose everything first. Divorce, you start to be bad at what you once were good at, and you have to reinvent yourself, and you start to get depressed, or something bad happens in your life that was unexpected. Like you get sick or someone in your family gets sick. There's so many reasons that get forced on you that maybe make you have to reinvent. So you have to get good at the skill of reinvention so that when it's forced on you, or simply when you're bored and when you need to reinvent and you find new passions, you get good at it and you know the language of reinvention, so you can just repeat it again.
Hey everybody, welcome to Impact Theory. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you actually execute on your dreams. Help me in welcoming the ranked chess master, stand-up comic, and the Michael Jordan of self-reinvention himself, James Altucher.
How you doing?
Good, I'm doing so good. It is so good to have you here.
I wish every time I walked into a room, somebody would do an intro like that for me.
We can work on that.
Where is my compass pointing me today to sort of choose my own narrative, and then I document it so that other people could decide if they like my narrative or if they want to just stick to kind of the traditional, they want to sign up for the narrative that everyone else has signed up for.
The choose yourself message is a universal one. It's not one that's particular to New York City or the United States or English speaking. It's all over the world. People need to choose themselves instead of letting their college, their parents, their government, their society, their religion, their culture, their colleagues, whatever, choose them.
And people could say, hey, I could do that too. I just let all these publishers reject me. I could do what he did and publish my book and let the market decide whether it's good.
Don't follow everybody else's agenda. Make your own agenda. Make your own core values. And that's true whether you're in Paris, whether you're in the middle of France, whether you're in London, whether you're in India, whether you're in the United States. Doesn't matter where you are. This choose yourself message is important.
Am I doing what I enjoy doing? Am I doing my daily practice? Am I following my own core values? Because if I am, then the ancillary effect of that is that I'll probably have some impact.
There's always a way to choose yourself, and the results will always be better than if you're sitting around making excuses or waiting for someone else to choose you.
So I sort of feel like my purpose is to live the life I want to live and not the life anybody else wants me to live, which is a different way of saying something similar, and where it kind of intersects is like, and then I'm going to document it, and maybe that helps people or maybe it doesn't. I don't know, because I can't change how someone else thinks. I can only write what I did and how I chose myself.
If you choose yourself, it's such a pleasure because you know you created your own world.